Righty.
That's cool.
Ready, Lori?
Yes,
Okay. Bertha, are you ready, ma'am? All right, very good. Welcome, everyone, to the meeting of the Chattanooga Beer Board. And all meeting attendees must sign in on the sign-in sheet for us if you haven't done so already. Would ask you to turn off all your electronic devices or mute them. And I'll do that right now because I've had mine go off in the middle of the meeting. So it's not to disrupt the meeting. Individuals wishing to address the board must do so from the podium. And we ask that you speak up. It's a little hard of hearing sometimes if you don't get close enough to the microphone there. We would appreciate that. Good morning, Reginald.
Yes, it is.
There are no minutes from the last meeting. The court reporter was present and documented our meeting. And at this time, I'll ask our court reporter to swear in all witnesses. So if you're coming before us today, please stand and be sworn in.
Raise your right hand, please. Do each of you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're giving today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
I do.
Thank you very much. All right, first item on our agenda is beer applications approved by regulatory, so there's no action that we need to take on these. That's Five Wits Brewing Company for a catering license at 1501 Long Street, El Mason Restaurant at Hamilton Place Boulevard, Friends of Outdoor Chattanooga, Chattown Cool Down, and Art Build Intermission, and that will be at 400 River Street. So that's in for the record there. So we will now start on our temporary beer permit applications. And Bertha, do you want to read the first one, please, ma'am?
Representing Deck K's Silent Disco, Amanda Crowley is making application for a temporary beer permit on behalf of a Step Ahead Foundation Chattanooga, Inc. Ms. Crowley has not had a beer permit for such an event, but has had a beer permit for other events in the past. The event is scheduled for September 19th, 2024, from 6 o'clock p.m. to 9:30 p.m. at 2035 Polk Street, Parkside Hall. The location is owned by the PKS Properties GP, and I don't have a zone on that, and I don't see Zach.
I was going to say, it looks like the only thing that's holding it up is zoning, and I was hoping to speak with Zach today to see if we could see what the zoning issue was and see if it was something we could work around. I've spoken with Miss Amanda this morning and explained to her that, you know, if it isn't approved today, if it does meet zoning, that I can come back and approve it prior to the event taking place, as long as it meets all other requirements.
Do we know if Zach's going to be here today?
I can reach out to him and see.
Pass it to the end of the.
Yeah, let's do this. Cause Zach can be running a little late sometimes.
Hi, good morning. Zach Yanas at the City Attorney's Office. I spoke with Kenneth Martin from zoning yesterday, and as I understand it, the issue is the distance requirement for on-premises consumption being too close to a church. And so that was the issue that was raised, and I just wanted to let you all know that.
Okay, very good.
Hey, Zach. Did Kenneth tell you what zone it was in?
No, we spoke late last night, and so I can circle back with him and be in contact with Ms. Crowley.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Zach said he's coming, but traffic is wild right now, so he's on his way.
Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna push this to the end of our agenda and give Zach time to get here then, if that's okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you very much. Appreciate your patience. All right, Bertha. I go to church with a Roberta, sorry.
Representing A Giant Effort, Corey Petrie. Make an application for a temporary beer permit on behalf of Community Helps Itself, Inc.
All righty.
We're just moving.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Okay. Okay.
Does anyone help on?
Well, They still are being held up by legal for that one.
Legal?
Correct. Okay, well then they've met all requirements and I can approve it at a
All
later
right,
date.
that'll be fine. Then no action needs to be taken today then.
Correct.
All right, very good then. And I forgot to ask for a vote to move, the,
To the end.
Decade Silent Disco to the end. So is there a motion to move it to the end of the agenda?
So moved.
Second. Second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you. All right. Now we are entering the beer applications passed from our previous meeting. So we have Kay's Tavern on Wilcox Boulevard are both of those that have been passed, one for consumer and one for brown bag. Can you give us, is there any update on this one?
No, it's unfortunately the same. I believe the intent was to, I know we can table it one time. I don't think that she'll be able to meet any of the new distance requirements, so.
Okay,
I believe we may have to make a vote to dismiss it.
Right, so the board has to take action on this application now, so that once it's formally, I guess, declined or rejected, they can, if they wish to appeal, it starts that process for them to
okay,
appeal.
all right.
So that's why it's on the agenda, like the board has to take formal action.
This is here because, right, the application deadline had run out to this meeting, right? So the application, was it 60 days, I think,
Right,
from the application to today? So that means that this is pretty well dead and done, okay?
right.
Okay. Make a motion that we just
Reject the.
reject the application.
All right, a motion to deny the application. Let's do it this way. First one is Kay's Tavern, Angela Mills member, 3220 Wilcox Boulevard, Unit 106, Consumer Carryout District 9. Is there a motion to approve or deny this application?
Make a motion to deny it.
All right, there's a motion to deny. Is there a second? Second, all right. All righty, Christie,
Yes.
Brooke,
Yes.
Ron,
Yes.
J.W. Cole,
Yes.
Reginald Washington,
Yes.
Betsy Hartman,
Yes.
and the chair votes yes. And the next one is Kay's Tavern, Angela Mills member, 3220 Wilcox Boulevard, Unit 106, for a brown bag license. Is there a motion on this application?
We make a motion to reject.
All right, motion to reject. Is there a second? Further discussion on that? I'll call the roll. Betsy?
Yes.
Reginald?
Yes.
J.W. Cole?
Yes.
Ron? Brooke? And Christie? And the chair votes yes. All right. Okay,
Just a side note, Chair.
yep.
That would have came up, didn't they have something, an incident there anyway? That would have been moved anyway, correct?
So I asked me,
Didn't they have an incident there, an accident there?
at K's?
Yeah.
Not that I can recall.
Okay,
Yeah, I don't recall hearing anything.
okay.
All right, we'll move into a new beer applications now. Bertha, please.
Representing Nacho Libre Taqueria LLC, Michelle Vasquez and Fernando Berguna are making application for a consumer beer permit at 8206 Appleton Pike. The two have not had a beer permit for this location. The location is owned by Adamson Developers LLC. I don't have a zone on that one.
It looks like legal is the only thing that's held up at this time.
I thought I signed off on that.
No, legal has approved the building and zoning is in progress.
Okay, my apologies. I have looked at the wrong one evidently, so let me double check on that.
Yeah, let's make sure where we are.
Bless you.
Nope. On this, so I don't know what exactly would be holding it up.
I checked yesterday and I think the deal was approved.
I got you. I must have looked at the wrong one this morning. I apologize.
That's her.
Yes, my apologies. So yes, zoning and building is in progress. But other than that, that seems to be the only thing that's holding it up. This may be another instance where if they, approve it, that I can approve it prior to the next Beer Board meeting.
Great. I'm sorry, would you repeat that again?
Yes, sir. My apologies. So zoning and building are still in progress. This may be another instance of where I can approve it prior to the next Beer
Okay.
Board meeting, as long as it meets those requirements.
So, thank you for being here this morning. We cannot take action until zoning and building have approved this, but once they do, you will not have to come back to us. The officer will be able to take care of everything.
All righty.
All
No
right,
problem.
Do you know anything about zoning and building? Have you made contact with them?
No. I'm
Can
just
we-
following the online process, yeah.
Can we push this to the end also when till Zach get here and be able
Yeah,
to
we
update?
could. But if she,
They haven't,
I don't know if we'll have anybody from building unless Zach can reach out to them.
because you're missing both zoning and building.
Oh, and building.
And building, right, right.
And provided that there are no issues, then regulatory should be able to approve it.
I was like, Miss Bertha, no, you're here, because we need to keep up with who's here and who's not.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so thank you very much for being
You're
here
very
this
welcome.
morning, and then, stay in touch with the officer.
All righty. Thank
All
you.
right, Thank you. Veronica, welcome to the board.
Thank you.
We're glad to have you with us this morning,
Thank you.
and, we'll just keep going here, so.
Okay, we have 2 Red Lobsters.
Is there a motion to hear these Red Lobster applications together?
And to do so.
All right, there's a motion to hear both the applications for Red Lobster, number 0285 at 2131 Northgate Park and 0883 Bamas Drive, together as one application. So is there a second? Second. All in favor of approving that motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? None opposed. Okay, so we'll hear those together. Bertha, thank you.
Okay, these are a change of ownership. RL Investor Holdings LLC is making application to engage in the sale of consumer beer at 2131 Northgate Park Lane and 2200 Bams Drive. The pending applications reflect change of ownerships. 0285 is zoned C2 and 0883 is zoned C4.
It looks like both of those still have legal holds on them, and I think this gentleman could maybe explain a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What is your name, sir?
I'm sorry. My name is Ricky Jefferson. I'm the district manager for the region, Jefferson.
Jefferson. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. They are striking off the general managers, and they're going to put it under our licensing department, the name on the application. So she'll be on all of them. So they're in the process of that. So we were asking if we could continue with it with the contingent that those two will each be marked off both locations, and it'll put under Norma Rivera, who's head of our licensing department.
Right. So essentially what happened is that the vice president is listed on the application as well as 2 managers. Both of those managers have DUIs on their record. And so since the ordinance requires, if it's held by a corporation, that an officer be responsible for the permit, then they're just gonna have the officer responsible for the permit.
Okay.
And so what they're asking is to be approved subject to them making that change to their application,
Okay,
which I believe the board can do.
yes, all right, all right. Okay, any questions from any of the board members of the applicant?
Question, so you said that there's 3 applicants on the application, and 2 of them has
DUI.
okay, so we're gonna remove those 2, and you're just gonna keep the 1 on there?
Right.
Right.
Okay.
Well, I'm glad you're still here. You'll be
Yes.
open in Chattanooga, so that's
I thought
good.
they were closing.
Yeah, I'm excited. I've only been in charge for about a couple weeks now, so.
Hey.
But yeah, we're making a comeback.
Good, that's great. That's very good to hear. Any other questions of the applicant? All right, is there
Let me start.
yeah.
Employees, are they all the same employees that's been there for, while they've been open, or are you starting over? How are you doing?
The only thing that's changing is who's actually going to be the ownership. Is the employees, the management, everything is still in place, and all the regulations are in place as far as ABC and all the regulatory controls. Everything else stays the same, just the actual name of the ownership.
Okay, I got
Okay,
you.
all right.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right. All right, is there a motion?
Make a motion to approve, subject to the 2 other applicants being dropped off the application.
Second.
All right. Any
Red Lobster 0285 and Red Lobster 0883.
any discussion to the motion? All right, I will call the roll then. Christie,
Yes.
Yes.
Veronica,
Yes.
Ron,
Yes.
JW,
Yes.
Reginald,
Yes.
Betsy,
Yes.
and the chair votes yes. All right, very good. Good luck.
Thank you.
Just keep an eye on that application process. You want to make it that
Absolutely. I've got her as soon as I get out of here. That's the first call, so make sure we got everything going through. I appreciate it. Have a good one.
Yes, sir, you too.
All righty. Bertha?
Representing Nuga Taps LLC, Paul David Smith and Rebecca Smith are making application to engage in the sale of consumer beer at 1511 Williams Street. The 2 have not had a permanent beer permit, but has had temporary beer permits in the past. The location is owned by Bobby Colvin and is zoned FBC UCX.
Unfortunately, it still looks like building has a hold on it. Again, this is something that if they can rectify, I can get it approved on the back end prior to the next meeting. Unless you guys want to try to pass it until Zach gets here and see if we can reach somebody. Stand by one. Okay, so I'm looking at a note from Brian Malone from building, not applicable due to there is no building to inspect for life safety. But they haven't signed off on it in the process yet, so if he can sign off on that, then we should be able to move it along.
Okay.
I could reach out to him on there and see if he can.
I tell you what, we're almost to the end of the agenda. Let's,
Let me see how long he's going to be.
yeah, see what he says. Just give us just a minute. Let's see if we can.
Was this in discussion once before, that this wasn't a permanent location, so we couldn't really do anything?
No, different one.
That was a different one?
Different one,
Okay.
yes.
Same location, I do believe. Is it the same location? Is it not the same location?
Oh, I'm sorry, it is. I'm wrong.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm Paul Smith with Nuga Taps. I did come in at the end of one meeting to ask a question.
Right, that's
about
it, okay.
before. So-
Okay, sorry about that. All
So
right.
do you know anything about the building approvals note,
Well, there's no building there.
right?
So he had even called me, and it's just a wide open lot. This is where the food trucks are going to be able to pull in and pull out.
Right.
So there is no building to inspect. It's just a flat lot.
Yeah, okay, now I'm squared away. I apologize, by the way, for mixing that up.
He made that comment on the 30th, not
Yeah.
applicable due to there's no building to inspect for life safety, so. I mean, it's just a matter of him signing off on it in OpenGov, keeping us from moving it forward. But I can reach out to him on here and see if we can get that moving along today.
So just help me, excuse me, good morning.
Good morning.
So you're getting a permanent beer license to go where?
1511 William Street.
New, this is the building, this is a building?
There's no building there, it's just a
vacant lot.
lot.
Remember,
It's
this
gonna be
vacant
where,
So,
so they're gonna rent out some
truck.
spaces for the food trucks to come in and out, which it could be revolving, or those people could stay if they want to. I'll be the only one with a permit selling beer.
in your food truck?
Not in a food, out of Nougat Taps, I have antique vehicles that we can serve the beverages out
I'll
of.
say that one more time, I'm sorry.
Antique vehicles, I got a 1970 Scout, 1970 International Scout and a 1962 Chevrolet Panel.
Okay.
So we won't be doing draft at the moment. Right now, we'd be selling cans.
Right.
Out of those antique cars?
Yeah, just out of those, I would be using the refrigerators to serve that.
So will those cars be permanently located at this location?
Yes, pretty much. I'm gonna have to move them because we don't think I can leave them there just sitting out all night in the lot. I don't know how people
They're
mess with them.
exposed yet, no.
Bobby Colvin owns those buildings there, so I'll probably move it
So
into
there's not a lean-to or something that you're gonna cover these up to give us some kind of leeway to give you a permit for this here because it's not
whatever we
permanent?
need to do, yeah. I mean, we definitely, I would like to be a lean-to there to cover the vehicle, to be honest. But yes, that could be done if you want that to be done.
Well, it's up to building right now. It sounds like you're ready to go except for building checking off.
Well, he's 3 minutes away, so he'll be here.
All right, well then is there a motion to,
No, he can't.
Yeah, he can't.
He's just on.
Yeah, he's just zoning.
oh, he's just zoning,
Yeah,
right?
he just, okay.
I've sent building a message on there,
Okay.
so I can continue to monitor it. And as
All
long
right,
as they
so
sign
I
off
think
on
the quickest route then is for us to go ahead, because if building can sign off on it, then the officer can approve it immediately.
So, I think that the most prudent thing to do is to pass it,
Okay,
to give him time to talk to Bill and see if there's a solution.
all right.
So that it doesn't fall off the radar or
Right.
fall through the cracks.
Right, I agree,
So-
I agree. And Brian Malone is stating there is no building to inspect, which can go either way. Yeah, I agree with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, city attorney.
Yeah, so we're gonna pass this to the next meeting, is that your recommendation?
Yeah.
All right, is there a motion then to pass this to the next meeting?
Second.
Discussion? Okay. All in favor of approving this motion to pass it to the next meeting? Say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, so it is passed to the next meeting.
Which is,
And hopefully you won't have to be here for the next meeting. Building will sign off on it and y'all can get started.
Okay,
And he'll go through regulatory then, is that right? Okay.
thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate anything.
Yeah, just, Mike's on. Mike's on.
Last time I brought it here, it
Yeah.
didn't work anymore.
Representing Marthy Ann's LLC, doing business as Marthy Ann's Tennessee Blue Plate, Valerie Craig and Joseph Keel are making application to engage in the sale of consumer beer at 9453 Bradmore Lane, Unit 101. The two have not had a permanent beer permit, but has had temporary beer permits. No, that's incorrect. I'm sorry. The two have not had a permanent beer permit in the past. The location is owned by Barrier Properties and is zoned UCG.
It looks like legal is the only thing that's being held up on that one.
so, the issue that we ran into, and I feel like the board needs to make a decision on, is that, there is a DUI on one of the, owner's record within the last 10 years. And he told me that he has a TABC license, and we reached out to TABC, and he does have a TABC license that was given on August 8th of this year. And I talked to Travis Patton, the TABC agent, and he advised that for TABC, it's not a prohibitor for someone to have a DUI on their record. However, when I'm looking at the beer code, when to be refused under 5-45, section F, no permit required by this division shall be issued where a person, form, corporation, joint stock company, syndicate, or association having at least a 5% ownership in the applicant has been convicted of any violation against the laws against possession, sale, manufacture, or transportation of beer or alcohol, or any crime involving moral turpitude within the past 10 years, or has had a permit under this chapter revoked within 1 year, or is currently under suspension. The last part doesn't apply to them. I spoke with Ms. Bertha as well, and it's my understanding that the beer board has not given a permit to someone who has a DUI on their record within the 10 years. So this is something that the board needs to decide what to do on.
Do we have the leeway to do it?
Well, the possession, sale, manufacture, or transportation of beer is what gives me pause. It depends on how you interpret that.
Yeah, me too.
So,
That's the question here. There's how many names on the application?
two. But they both own 50% of the business, is that
Okay.
right?
Correct.
When was the DUI?
DUI was in 2017. But it's within that 10-year
It's within
period.
10 years.
I was wondering how close to the 10-year mark we are.
Right.
Ron, bring back a little institutional memory. Has this ever come up before? Have you?
It's
I
just-
can't remember a
I don't remember
DUI
Where's this location?
coming up, but
I don't remember.
I know. I know.
Yeah.
If I may. Let's let Mr.
Brent, if you'll help us here, sir.
Number one, I don't think a DUI falls into any of the four subcategories. He wasn't convicted of an alcohol offense transporting
Right.
or any of the other three, manufacture, et cetera. I will point out that Mr. Keel began in the restaurant business in 1995. And since 1995, through the various operations he has had, he has never appeared before a beer board. Never had a license suspended. Never even had a warning from any beer board which might be applicable from Knoxville to Chattanooga. He did get his TABC license, as Catherine stated. As well, the other applicant, Valerie Craig, who is here, her TBI report came back, no criminal record whatsoever. This is a new establishment in an old place, the burger place up at Cambridge Square.
I know where this is.
There's 65 indoor seats, 35 outside seats. The outside seats are enclosed by a gate. Therefore, you have to enter and exit from the brick and mortar part of the building, so nobody can be given an alcoholic beverage and, quote, wander off. All of their staff, other than, we believe, 3 people, are TABC licensed. Those are 3 new employees who fall within the 60-day grace period of when the ABC license was issued. Mr. Keel and Mrs. Craig, as owners, are also not hands-off owners. They are there. They have done most of the training of the staff as they've conducted business since 1995 without any violations. And in talking with Mr. Keel and Ms. Craig, if there's any issue with regards to serving an alcoholic beverage to a customer, the staff is to find one of them. If there's any question on, I'm not sure, I've never seen a Texas driver's license before. I've never seen a Mississippi driver's license before.
So
They have experience, and if they haven't had it, they will personally go to the table and tell the people, we're not serving you. We don't feel comfortable. It's a southern flair of cooking, which is going to take place there. I personally haven't been, but 3 people at the golf course this weekend were bragging about it, telling us where the new location was. You have to go. You have to try their fried chicken. And in the South, a lot of people like to have a beer with fried chicken. So.
Yeah, very good. Okay.
Can you state the factors again under that?
Okay, so it's laws against possession, sale, manufacture, or transportation of beer or other alcoholic beverages or any crime involving moral turpitude. And any crime involving moral turpitude usually means something dealing with dishonesty and whatnot. And I will say that Mr. Keel did disclose his DUI on his application as well.
Did he?
So,
Okay.
And DUI is driving under the influence, so that doesn't apply to that.
or driving, yeah.
Be impaired, so technically he's not transporting alcohol.
Well,
It's what calls for the board's interpretation. I'm just telling you what the law is and.
so we'll open this up before we take action, let's open this up for discussion among the board members. So, I'll wait and let everybody talk, and then I'll give my thoughts on it, too. Anybody have anything to say? Yes, ma'am.
His DUI versus the DUI with the employees at Red Lobster.
Well, the difference is because those employees don't need to be on the license. They do.
They do.
Because they own part of it. Those employees did not own any of or didn't have a role in the corporation that owned it.
Will it change his DUI if they change their ownership from 50%?
It's anything over 5%, right?
Yeah.
So why would you do that? I wouldn't.
Over 5%, yeah.
Ownership.
If I may speak to the board?
Were you sworn in, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, go ahead.
Yes. My name is Joseph Keel. I am the one in question. I have, as Mr. James stated, been in this business since 1995. There was a point in my career where the culture was that everyone went out and drank every night. And I'm certainly not making an excuse for it, but that's definitely what it was. Since 2017, I have been completely sober. I have a totally different life from what I led then, even though I'm in the same industry and have remained. In 2019, I came back to the Cleveland, Tennessee area, not really knowing what I wanted to do with the second half of my career, as I'm 45 now.
You're young.
Sir?
You're young.
Go ahead. Well, thank you. I started in 2019 with a car that was about to be repossessed, the clothes on my back, and made this work. There is no way I could have done that in the former style of life that I had. We have 2 restaurants. They're both highly successful. We're brand new on one. I beg the board to interpret that law as it's written, which does not include the DUI. Thank you for your time.
And one thing I'd also like to point out that Joseph didn't bring up, in 2017, he was not at an establishment he owned going home when the arrest occurred for the DUI. He was at a separate location. Otherwise, he could have had a beer board violation, but there was nothing of that sort.
Time DUI?
Yes.
I don't see, I read that, I'm not an attorney, I did stay at a Holiday Inn. But I read that interpretation to mean you're selling moonshine, you're selling untaxed alcohol, that's not what, I don't read into it, the DUI. I see where somebody could, but I'm of the opinion that I just don't think that this is restrictive of being able to get their license. I don't see that personally, okay?
Because able to get an ABC license, I don't understand, because I would be more concerned with serving than I would be actually having a license to sell.
Right.
So.
Can you give me that beer, that code again, please?
It is section 5-45, and if the board feels like this is an unclear portion of the code, then you can make a recommendation to council to update the code to clarify, so that this does not mean, or this would include DUI or not, however. So, just throwing that out there as well.
Okay.
For future, because we've had this show up 3 times on one.
Right.
Well, I was gonna say, I cannot, as long as I've been on the board, I don't remember this ever coming up before.
Okay.
Yeah. Ron?
listen to the conversation there, I take it you're already open and
Yes, sir.
doing business. How long you been doing that?
Neighborhood, 3 weeks.
3 weeks? And, I take it it's going well.
It's incredible. The response from the community is like none that Cambridge Square has ever seen before.
Oh, really? Oh, tell us about the menu.
So we're an elevated southern menu.
Southern menu?
I've been culinary for, as we said, almost 30 years. I've worked under some of the greatest chefs. James Beard award-winning. Richard Branson's personal chef was a mentor. So we take the typical southern dishes that you would have found at a diner or at Mama's house from around 1950 to 1970, and we lift those up and praise them like the Italians and the Greeks got to do in the 40s and 50s. We're super proud of that heritage. We have the most expensive steak on the menu. It's a locally sourced from Appleton, Tennessee, 16-ounce bone-in ribeye. That's 100% American Wagyu. It's the most expensive steak in all of Hamilton County, and in 3 weeks, we've sold out every week.
Okay. Pick a good location.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, further discussion.
Yes.
JT?
Thank you again for being here. I just want to say to the board, as we cast our vote, and men and women are watching online, when we have this, if others come in, we got to remember our vote that we did today as well. No matter who it comes, even when it comes to regulatory. That's all I have to say.
What I was thinking there is they've been in business about 3 weeks without beer. Maybe we could pass this and get further input, the legality, or something to help make us make sure we do the right thing, is all I'm asking.
Attacked.
Well,
Okay. All right.
If I may, and Catherine, Ms. McDonald may agree with me, although I just talked to Mr. Keel this week, there's no case law.
There's no one?
Case law whatsoever.
No precedent.
There's no precedent.
Yeah, I just don't.
And quite honestly, the rule of law is routinely, if a statute is ambiguous, it is interpreted against the maker, which would be the city of Chattanooga, because they are the ones who decided to draw it using that language. So if there's ambiguity as to whether this falls within, and the only thing I could see would be the transporting part of it.
He technically wasn't transporting, he was just under the influence.
Unless there was a case in his trunk.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, further discussion on this issue. All right. Is there a motion? They've met all the other requirements, though, haven't they?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Yes, Mr. Mayfield, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Is there a motion? I'm not going to say, is there a motion?
Motion to, what are we motioning to? Approve it?
Yeah, it's up to you. It's up to you. What motion you want to make?
Code, the way it's written, I'm gonna make a motion to approve it.
A second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Now, discussion to the motion. If not, I'll call the roll. Okay. All right. Betsy?
Yes.
Reginald?
Yes.
J.W. Cole?
No.
Ron Smith?
Yes.
Veronica Dunson?
No.
Brooke?
Yes.
Christie?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes, so that does pass. All right, very good. And thank y'all very much. That's what we're here for. okay, to have these discussions. So that's great. Good job. Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Can, for discussion after that, can we now, that decision's been made, move that section 545 to what Ron stated, to legal, to get further clarification
Yeah.
on this?
Or as Catherine stated, I think, maybe a revisit by city council to amend it, or I don't know what they would do.
To,
Rewrite it.
to clarify.
To clarify, thank you, Catherine.
Right.
Yeah, so, is it the,
He
is it
wasn't
the,
transporting
pleasure of the board to ask our legal counsel to approach city council for clarification on that? Does everybody agree with that?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Can
So I-
recommendations be made?
Yeah.
Yes, recommendations can be made to the council.
Okay.
But, I guess the recommendations could be discussed in the, discussion part of the
Yeah, let's do
meeting.
that, let's do that.
And then, we would take that and I would go to Bill and he would go to council.
Okay, very good. Yeah, so we'll do that. We will revisit that at the discussion section of the meeting. And thank you, Catherine. All right. Ms. Bertha?
We have one more, Bar Sabor Para BLR. Samantha Nicole Caceres is making application to engage in the sale of consumer beer at 3803 Calhoun Avenue, Unit 103. Ms. Caceres has not had a beer permit for this location. The location is owned by 3709, 3829 Holdings LLC and is zoned M1. The podium there.
Samantha,
She has not been sworn.
You're good, come on up here.
Oh,
You
it's
ain't gotta be
okay.
nervous.
She needs to be
And I don't
sworn.
think she was sworn in.
She wasn't.
I was not.
She was
I came in
not.
late.
Yeah.
You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're giving today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Very good.
So we're checking on building right now. It looks like building was the last one. 3803 Calhoun.
And that's because the address was wrong. I had to go to the GIS and get them to actually go into the building and show the address. The address that they had for the building was, the building's so big that the back is a Georgia address, the side was 1508, I think East 38th Street, and that's the address that they were using. But the actual address in the facility was not the same.
May I ask? Yeah, where's Calhoun?
It's-
I heard you say Calhoun at East 38th.
Yeah, the actual address is Calhoun. Calhoun's the street that's right beside it. The first time I went to it, I used the GPS and it didn't take me to the right place. It'll take you to the side. And they get mail there, their lots are through that address.
So we're talking about the south side of Chattanooga, right?
Yes, like right off the boulevard. On the back.
Is that near me?
38 in Calhoun.
Yeah, well, I know what 38 is.
That's what I'm talking about.
Like 2 blocks.
Okay.
What was the other address? Because
nothing comes up for
3803.
I'm seeing Calhoun, but
And I also have even the property thing, it had a different street on it.
On the
So,
Dodds on Purpose.
3709.
yeah. And it took them a while to actually get this also. 3709 Calhoun Avenue, that's not the address.
I don't.
And then we had to get the fire chiefs to change the address.
So what
to health
address are
department.
they, is everybody using, like the building, the fire, what address are they using?
Well, for the fire department to come and everything, we had to get the correct address. So I had to go to the GIS, and the address that I put, the 3803, is the correct address for right there. It's a suite.
Okay.
When you go into the building, there's like
It's 101 and 103.
kind of a grocery store.
So there's 2 units, 101 and 103. You're 103?
Yes.
Okay. I don't have any, there's nothing that I can find on it, so,
What address is the electric power board using?
I didn't know if I was supposed to contact someone to change it, but I like went to the GIS and we had went there to get the copy of the title and all that, but no one really gave me information to go to be able to change the address.
Okay, I'm sorry. Now, do you have power there now?
Yeah,
And the address they are billing is what?
as the side of the address,
And what address is that?
1508 East 38th Street.
That's what I wanted to know. Let me check.
And then the 3709, that's like at another side. I think that might be right there at the door where the store is at. It's very complicated.
We're checking that second address.
We've been trying to do this since around February or March.
Okay, and what, may I ask while they're doing it, what is bar, is it Bar Sabar?
It's called Bar Sabor para Bailar. It's a lot. It's Bar Sabor. Sabor is like something that tastes good or something that feels good to dance. It's gonna be more like a dance hall because it's gonna be bands that are coming and all that, and more like a family friendly, like maybe not bring your little kids, but more than the other bars that are over there. I've worked at some of the other Hispanic bars. I translate, I do ride share, I do a lot of different stuff in the Hispanic community, and I speak Spanish. So I just felt like something like that, because it's a very big building. There's stuff that in the back where you could do event stuff for children and stuff like that. Like, it just took so long to actually get the address, get everything out, and all that.
So is it a club?
It's a bar.
Okay.
But it's more like a dance. I don't even know how you call it. It's like bands will come. It'll be a bar, but it'll be more, you could bring, the younger people can come and all that.
And when you say younger, what age is that?
Like 18. But they can't drink, of course.
What's gonna be your hours of operation?
Excuse me? I can't hear you.
I'm sorry. Your hours of operation,
What do you mean?
how long, when you gonna open, what days and
Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
what times?
10 to 2:45.
Thank you.
10 to 3, but 2:45 because you have to get people out the door before it gets 30.
You mentioned there were several units, maybe 3 units. Will you be utilizing those units?
Not at this moment. But it's something that I could expand if we stayed in that building.
Okay, is there a door that separates the units? Or can you walk in from one unit to the other?
No. When you first come in, there's a little grocery store to one side, and then the suite goes into another door. And it's like a round building where they play soccer. It's an indoor soccer field. And then you can go to the side, there's a door that you can go, and then there's all the buildings to the back.
So you said there may be a instance where you would use the second unit or the other unit.
We can,
Will
we
you have
can
beer?
utilize it if we want to.
Will you have beer in the other unit?
Yeah. Well, we don't know where we're gonna put everything still, but we could utilize it if we want to. We're paying for it.
So what I just heard,
But there's only
you're
one.
paying for the full building, but utilizing one, and if you want to use the others, you can. Is that what I heard?
We're paying for the soccer field really, but there's nothing else going back there. And then the man that I leased the building from said that if I wanted to do other stuff back there, but I don't want people that are coming there to be in the back.
Where will your,
If anything, I would put like stock stuff and things like that
back there?
Yeah.
Now, when you say soccer, indoor soccer, is this kids and adults all
This is an
playing?
adult, indoor soccer.
One more time.
It's just like it's adult teams. They have playoffs, like where they.
Are kids there watching the adults
Yeah,
play?
kids, women. They have a little grocery store in there where you can get food.
Just for clarification, because you indicated that beer would only be sold in one unit. So what would be the other unit other than?
It's just one big unit, but how it is, it's kind of like a stadium, you would say. Like, we could open one door and maybe put the bar there and put the beer there. But the other units, I think they were used before for like a barber shop and other things.
Okay, you also mentioned earlier that part of the building is on the Georgia side.
The back part.
So would this be the back part that you will be utilizing for
The address, they actually came into the soccer field, stayed at the soccer field with the geographical stuff. The address is the address that I gave you for that street. But, I mean, I thought someone would also come out to change the people, but the other store that's there's address, or maybe,
What would be the other unit number?
I really don't know, because that unit, I'm pretty sure the store that when you come in has the 1508. The whole thing is wrong. They need to come out and change the whole thing.
Has building been out for this, or
I don't know how they got lots or anything.
why is this even before us here?
Or mail.
Building, it has it in progress.
And your name is Samantha?
It is.
Hey, Miss Samantha, are you a certified bartender?
I have my ABC license.
You have an ABC license?
Yes,
Okay.
I got that in January or February when we first started this.
Right, and in this building, Bar Sabar, I may pronounce it wrong, I'm sorry. Are you gonna be selling alcohol as well?
No,
It's just beer?
just beer and in a can.
So BYOB?
No,
No, just beer.
I'm selling it. They can't bring it in.
Right.
And I would not give them alcohol.
No, you're selling beer?
Yes.
And can they bring their bottles into your
No,
establishment
you
at
can't
the
bring
dance
anything.
place?
No.
And then we have security already, because it is a kind of a big place. But we have, like, we put our fire extinguishers up that, I like the building because it has all the little, if there was a fire,
Sprinklers?
yeah, sprinkler system, you're not supposed to bring anything, and then everybody's getting checked.
So are you selling food?
No,
No food?
the health department approved us.
So it is a place, bar, club that just drink beer, listen to the band, and dance. Is that correct?
I mean, I thought of trying to sell food later, but then when I talked to the lady from the health department,
Environmental?
yeah, it's a lot more stuff that I would have to do, so.
And am I understanding that part of this building is in the state of Georgia?
Yes,
Is that what I heard?
When I went to go get the property title and it like took me 2 days to get it, they said that the back of it was like a Georgia address.
Okay, so the building straddles the state line.
But it's not our side, I don't think.
Right, not your side. Okay, good.
I hope not.
She will be using.
Yeah, I know.
Do you know what it used to be?
I mean, it's been a soccer field for a while.
It's got to be huge.
It's very big.
What's
Okay.
your occupancy?
All right, so let's circle back now.
question
Oh,
on
I'm
the
sorry, excuse me, Bertha, I didn't hear you.
What is your occupancy?
I don't have the paper from the fire department, but there's 2 exit doors. I figured out what they told me how many could be in there.
But you've been approved on that too?
Yeah, they came out 3 or 4 times too. And then I still, I've been approved, but the suite number is not on there. The building inspector, I called him to begin with, which he said that he usually comes out when we get the accepted to come here. He came out first. He came out just the other day. The only thing he didn't pass us for is because we had to get, which we did get it yesterday, these little cover guards to go over the exit doors because they play indoor soccer. It's not close to it, but just in case. But yeah, the fire chiefs have been out 3 or 4 times, the building inspector twice, and the health department once. And the GIS.
One last question, Samantha. Are you the owner or are you the manager?
I'm the owner.
Okay, of the whole establishment? And leasing that building?
I'm subleasing.
Subleasing that building?
So Zach, where does it stand with your department?
So I just got a message back from Chief Inspector Brian Malone. He says they have corrections for building as well as corrections for the fire marshal, and they have not called back for reinspection for the building. So it's
I
still,
called him this morning.
Was
It's
this
really
morning?
hard for him, because he's only in the office, I think, at 7, 8 o'clock, and
So
then
you-
he's in the field, Brian, yeah. He's the
so
one
you
that
would
came
go
over
back
here.
in the portal is what you could do, but I'll let him
I
know.
sent him
Are you-
emails and what.
Okay.
So he just called me back, because he had already been here 2 times at that point. And it was very little. It was I think somebody hung the fire extinguisher up too high, and just to make sure all the outlets had covers and those things for those.
So you spoke directly to Brian Malone,
Not the fire chief, the building
the
inspector?
building inspector?
Yeah.
Brian Malone?
Yes.
Wears an Alabama hat? Dark hair?
Spot, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I hope that was him.
No, I just,
He gave me
so there's 4 of them, I just want to make sure
I
you
have what
spoke with Brian.
the notes he gave me and everything.
Okay. All right, so sounds like they've got some corrections made, but they haven't been approved yet due to the fact that Brian hasn't had a chance to go back out there.
The fire, they just need to put the suite on there. They put the address, but they didn't put the suite.
Are you doing anything in that building right now?
No, we're paying every month.
Right.
I'm paying.
Okay.
All right, well, we cannot approve it until the building has approved it.
And if I get in touch with him today and he came tomorrow and approved it, I would have to wait till the next.
No, then you would deal directly with the officer and they can approve it themselves.
So
You
we
don't-
wouldn't have to wait for another meeting.
That's correct.
Okay. I mean, I knew that I had a little bit, but I would rather come here and see.
No, that's good.
I'm
That's
glad you
good.
come here.
Yeah.
I mean, how would I get, what do I need to do to get someone to come out there? I don't know who does that, but I've been calling different places to get everybody's address right. Like the side, I don't know.
Who has the ultimate authority on addresses?
So they could call, you could call the GIS department, Hamilton County GIS.
They came out, but they just did ours.
So, it may be that only the responsible party can make that request. However, I do know if 911 initiates it,
That's why we had to do
then
that.
they will do everything that 911 wants, so. But who at 911 is responsible for that, I don't know. You can call, 698-2525 and ask who would be responsible, who would be your contact.
Right.
So that's just the non-emergency line for the Chattanooga Police Department.
It's
698-2525. And you could ask dispatch, that's gonna take you to a call taker. And you could ask them who would be your contact if the 911 address changes. And they should be able to, put you through to the correct person. I know GIS has to make that change.
Contact for 911.
And in the state of Georgia. We don't have any.
911 changes?
But she's gonna be selling beer from here, somebody said.
In our system, it just shows 3803 Calhoun, Unit 101, Unit 103. And she's applied under Unit 103.
I just thought when I went to the GIS, like they gave me a copy, I have a copy of that too, that it would just automatically change like the address or something. But I guess because the front door, maybe that's 3709 is the front door. I really don't know.
911 is the key, isn't it, Zach?
I think she should find out the contact. If they've already been out there, they should already have records, and maybe they could give her.
Yeah, I have internet, I have a business phone there.
They could give her some dialogue as far as what she needs to do or what's already been done, some clarity.
Okay.
She's got a bill, I'm sure it's got the address on it.
All right, questions, comments? Well, we cannot take action today. So if you get everything squared away, then you can contact the regulatory department and they can approve this directly and you won't have to come back.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Samantha.
Thank you so much. I was nervous.
Get in contact with the regulatory department, right?
I wrote everything down, I think. Thank you, have a good day.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
You'll get through it. Don't leave her discouraged.
It's not, she ain't
You got
discouraged,
this.
believe you me.
You got this.
Yeah.
She gonna get something done.
Beauty of operating of Chattanooga, Tennessee. One side of the building can be in Tennessee and the other side of the building can be in Georgia.
You know what it's saying, I live up there all my life.
Is there a motion to move this to the next meeting?
Motion.
We was gonna move. I thought
No,
we was gonna move it.
I'm sorry, to move it to regulatory.
Regulatory.
Yeah, is there a motion to move it to the regulatory bureau?
Motion.
All right, motion by Ron, is there a second?
Second.
Second? All in favor of approving this motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion approved.
Move to regulatory.
Boy, that's a tricky one.
It is. Well, that's an important one, though.
Yeah.
That is, I mean, the world we live in today, them little dots on the GIS is very important, so.
Right. All right, back to.
Nope, we got the one to the end. The E43, was that moved to the end?
Yes. The one we moved to the.
So that one should be up next for discussion, or am I incorrect?
What was it? Temporary beer permit.
Step ahead foundation.
The first one.
Yeah, got it. So, we will revisit now, a Step Ahead Foundation Decade Silent Disco. So, is Amanda here? She's not here, is she? Oh, there she is. I'm sorry. Excuse me, Amanda. Okay, Zach, can you bring us up to date on what's the status of this application?
I can, so, this property is 339 feet, to the Met Off Main Church there. So they do not meet the 500-foot buffer. So we went back, and by we, I mean Kenneth Martin and I in zoning division, and we looked back at the winter refuse 5-45, I believe it is. And so initially, we were under the impression that the 500 on-premise was dropped across the board to 300. And when they finally got it codified and into the code with all the new across it, we went and read it, and it's not. It's only for certain zones. So if you're not within these certain zones, then it's still 500 feet.
So question.
So.
What is it? Zach, what's the property zoned right now?
So the property right now is zoned M1.
Okay.
Which is exempt only for some type of manufacturing, for wholesale, not for on-premise consumption. Other than that, it's your commercial zones that have been dropped to 300, like your C2, your C3, C5, some of those. I'm paraphrasing the code. It's under 545. I can actually read it. If you would like. Now, it's not under the temporary. 542 covers temporary. What 542 does say is temporary beer permits. 542A says temporary beer permits not to exceed 30 days may be issued upon the same conditions governing permanent permits. And then it goes on to say, and shall specify with reasonable particularity the premises on which the permit shall be valid and the time or times during which the permit shall be valid. And then it goes on to talk about some other things. 545, when to be refused. So this is for all permits. And it talks about the distance regulation. So 545, you have A, you have B. B1 states the sale of beer or other beverages of like alcoholic content for consumption on the premises within 500 feet or 250 feet for consumption off the premises as measured from any doorway entrance to the building of the applicant regularly used for public ingress or egress to the nearest doorway entrance to the school, church, adult-oriented establishment as defined in Chattanooga City Code 11422A or other place of public gathering regularly used for public ingress or egress, specifically including daycare centers for 8 or more children under 17 years of age, for group care as defined in the Chattanooga zoning ordinance, shall be prohibited. Provided, however, this prohibition shall not apply to any proposed permit location within the area zone C3, Central Business District, or UGC, Urban General Commercial Zone, or zone pursuant to the downtown form-based city code, or to any proposed permit location within 500 feet, and it lists the different parts, so on and so forth. So then it drops down to number 2, which is where I mentioned about M1. It says the distance requirement for the on-premise consumption of beer brewed on the premises does not apply within the area zoned M1 manufacturing zone to any brewery that has as its principal purpose the wholesale production of beer for consumption off the premises. And then 3, for zone C2, C4, and C5, the distance requirements set forth in section 5-45B1 shall be reduced to 300 feet for consumption on the premises and 200 feet for consumption off the premises. And then it goes on to how that is measured, which is the same. So according to the new regulations that are in front of us, this property is zoned M1. It's not a brewery, and we could not approve the zoning based off the distance being about 161 feet short to Met off Main Church.
On 500, at the
Off
500 rule.
Correct.
But it meets the 300 rule.
The 300 does not apply.
Does not apply.
Doesn't apply, okay.
What is this?
But this question is, this
And
is an
see,
event
this is
hall.
not what was,
But this isn't a venue that, have they not had a beer permit in the
No,
past
but-
for all those other events?
No, but the park that's across the street has, and we have.
so what park
permitted
is
them.
that?
Montague.
Montague.
Right,
It's right across the
so,
street.
let's
This
see
is an
here.
event hall, isn't it, where they would,
Yes.
why would you have, build an event
Why
hall
would-
and you can't have
yeah.
alcohol in it?
And I know, I've been to events there where there's been alcohol, so
So,
I'm curious how.
I will say this. It doesn't list Montague as being exempted. It lists, and I'll read it for record. It says, this is going back to 545B1, where it lists, it starts saying that this prohibition shall not apply to any proposed location within the area, and then it talks about the two areas that I mentioned, and then it goes on to say, or to any proposed permit location within 500 feet of Coolidge Park, Ross's Landing Park and Plaza, Miller Park and Plaza, Sanctuary Skate Park at Finley Stadium, East Brainerd Park, or the Walnut Street Bridge. So,
Amanda, you are with the charity? Yes, sir. Is that correct? Okay.
So you're not with.
So let me finish this real quick,
Yeah, go ahead.
respectfully.
Go ahead.
Further, that this distance proximity prohibition shall not apply to any location that has heretofore been issued a valid permit to sell, store, or manufacture beer or other beverages of like alcoholic content under previous distance proximity restrictions, but if any such permittee shall cease or discontinue the sale of beer for 6 months, then the distance proximity prohibition contained in this section shall therefore apply to such locations. So,
Okay.
when you brought up, Betsy, that this location had been issued a permit in the past,
It's my assumption, since they've served alcohol before.
so I don't have record of that. I have not searched for a record of that. So to be clear, I'm not saying that that is not true or that record does not exist, but my knowledge, it's not included in my knowledge of that. So if I was to be shown where they had one within the last 6 months, then I believe that the way the code is written, and I would seek guidance from legal, that zoning could approve this based off of that they had been issued a permit within the last 6 months. Because it's the 6 months that triggers the new distance check.
Right.
Okay.
But I would need the information from regulatory showing me where one was issued. Because just because they had an event doesn't mean the event was legal. Just because they sold alcohol doesn't mean alcohol was legally sold there. And that happens, unfortunately, regularly in our city. So, but if there is a permit that was gotten legally and I can be shown that and it's within 6 months, I'll be happy to hit the approve button.
So my question is.
After guidance from legal, making sure that my interpretation of the code is the proper interpretation.
Okay, so she was talking about the event at the event hall, but we also, I know we approved one at the park,
That was my next question.
Montague Park.
Montague Park.
Yeah. Would
We
that be
just
applicable?
recently did that, didn't we?
With the kites.
Yeah, so.
My question is how far Montague
Yeah,
is
Montague could
from
be
the,
outside.
I want to know where the church is at. What church is involved in this
it's right
series?
here.
This is. I
It's
know,
called the Met Modern.
and that's and that's on Polk Street. The church is on Polk. Is it across the street?
Question,
Martha.
could she possibly set up a beer tent that's
Right here between Polk.
in close proximity of the hall where beer can be
I just think they got a church
served?
right there.
I mean, I don't know the layout of the building, but could you set up a tent?
Right.
Put it in Montague Park.
I'll put it in Montague Park. Just kidding.
Bertha?
I'm gonna go ahead and say this on record.
Go ahead, Zach. Yeah.
Just because. And it was mentioned, to Attorney Yones in a message, from Kenneth Martin last night. We were seeking clarity and we put a note in seeking clarification from the city attorney's office on this. And the reason is, we are aware that there has possibly been, properties that were approved for a temporary permit in the past that did not meet the distance requirements, and that we may or may not have been directly involved in approving personally. One of those recently was an event for alumni at Notre Dame, which is not only a school but also a church, and it was held on the property. But it was my understanding, and Attorney Yones is here, he can correct me, that the reason for that was that it was nothing sold. It was given to alumni, so therefore it did not, it was not subject to the requirements because it was not being sold. However, it was being consumed. But that was the direction we got from the city attorney, and that's why that zoning approved that one. So I will say that I am aware that there has been other events at Montague Park. I am unaware if they've come through regulatory and been approved by zoning or not. But I just will put that out there on record.
September 19th is the third Thursday. So it'd be our next meeting date.
Do you know when her event is?
The
19th.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought.
The only problem with that is I was getting the beer and getting it in place and setting it in 4 days.
Who's selling alcohol, or is this part of like a ticket price?
So our intent was to sell. However, if consumption is acceptable, people are buying tickets to the event. They will have access to 2 alcoholic beverages as part of that ticket sale. We could limit the beer to part of the ticket sale and not sell any additional beer if they want a 3rd or 4th beverage. I don't know if that would make a difference in terms of this board's, it's still, yeah, they're selling a ticket that gives them access to alcohol, so.
Bertha, how hard is it to look and see if we've given any other permit at this address?
We have not.
I've looked at that and there is none. Now, if you go to 1800 Polk Street, Montague Park, I see at least 2 temporary permits that were issued. But none for the,
Never issued a permit for this,
35.
Was the law the way it is currently when that building was built? Like, why would you build that venue there? I feel like, was this part of the original District 7 lower distance originally?
So there's no district lower distance. It's only zones.
Okay.
So those zones exist all over the city. So it wouldn't be a council district specific issue. The law did change June the 10th?
Yeah, June 10th.
Of this year, dropping it to 300. I could do a little research and find out when Met Main was there, but I know that's been there for
I think that's been there
some years.
Just wondered
As
why
far
you
as
built that
2035 Polk Street, I am unsure. Let me see.
It doesn't matter.
It looks like 2035. Yeah, I don't have that up. I don't have when that particular building was built. So for 2035 Polk Street, using that address in OpenGov, in the treasurer's OpenGov, I do not see any other permits or licenses other than TE 43 and a business license back in 2021. Those are the only 2 permits that I see for this 2035 Polk Street. If there was another address used for another portion of this building, that would not show because this is address specific.
Right.
So, just not sure if you want to point me to the other TE or whatever, Jason, second one.
Oh, we can come up for,
You said there were some other ones that were.
for the 1800.
This is the newer construction
1800
building, isn't it?
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's only
it
about
is.
a year old.
Yeah, right down the corner.
It's kind of a dark building, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, I know exactly where it is then. Counselor? This is a stumper.
Sometimes owners of venue halls don't realize the rules and regulations before they start to build.
Yeah.
And you know, something that we've added to our application is we've tried to encourage our applicants prior to paying their fees and doing all this, reach out to the building inspector and zoning inspector just to make sure that that is an option prior to going forward.
Is this your first year in this location?
Yes.
Where were you before?
Well, I don't own the venue. I'm from the
I'm
charity
just saying-
who's hosting an event there.
I mean,
We've had other events in Miller Plaza and
Okay.
other places.
Right, yeah, I thought so.
Yeah. It's our first time hosting an event there.
You were just changing it up, so.
Yeah, switching it up. We thought a new venue might be
That's-
For the record, my last name is spelled incorrectly on the agenda.
Oh, I am so sorry.
It's okay. It's just Cowley. No R.
COWLEY?
Yes, ma'am. Correct.
My apologies.
No, you're good.
Thank you for pointing that out.
All right, so,
and I'll give you a prime example of one of the venues. It's right over there by the Montague Park. It sits right there off Main Street. What is that?
It's Main
Street.
Yeah, and there's a church right in front of it, but they didn't realize the regulations. Oh, what's the name of that?
Talking about Shady's?
I'm sorry? No, not Shady's, not
I know
Shady's.
what, yeah, it's this building, right, it's brand new. It's brand new
Think of the name
building.
of it.
Yeah, I watched
They're being built, and I thought, what are they building?
Renovated, and then you got that on the corner
You know
there.
where,
So,
Macedonia is?
As well.
It's right behind Macedonia.
That is,
Respectfully, is there
J.J.
anything we can do
Hart,
about this today?
I'm sorry, Lori.
Can we,
No, I'm not.
I'm sorry.
it's the one day I have to go to work.
Henry.
all right, let's settle down, please. Okay, order in the court.
Get you a ticket, they'll validate, you can get out.
So, at this point,
She asked me that.
until building signs off on it, we can't approve it.
zoning.
well, and then they're not gonna sign off on it because of the regulations.
I'm gonna say that.
Yeah, I mean,
I
mean, I hate
can't,
this.
I can't.
but, right, but,
I
I
am,
mean, I
the
just,
code says shall, not may.
right, we can't move on.
Well, how do you square that with 5-42 that says it may be issued based on the same conditions governing permanent permits? Temporary beer permits may be issued.
Right.
So to me, that says that may be issued outside of the same conditions. However,
So what I read earlier, in 542, that's what you're referencing?
yeah.
So 542A says temporary beer permits not to exceed 30 days may be issued, which means they don't have to be issued, they can be denied, or refuse to be issued. Upon, which interpret that word however you wish, the same conditions governing permanent permits, and shall specify with reasonably particularity the premises on. So basically it's saying you may issue a temporary permit as long as it meets the same conditions governing permanent permits and the other items in here that it the time or the times in which the permit shall be valid so far.
It does not meet that because of the
It
distance.
doesn't meet it because of the distance.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I interpret may as a permissive word.
So you can issue, so it's saying you can issue a temporary permit.
If.
Upon. So,
Yeah, I got it.
so again, we'll issue you a permit upon meeting all the requirements.
Right.
But then don't meet the requirements.
But that's what I'm saying. You still may be able to issue it on different requirements.
That's not what it says though. But if that's what you want to go on record stating.
Yeah.
To me, the word may is permissive.
But if she comes back next year, then are we required to do it? You know?
So the may speaks of, temporary beer permits not to exceed 30 days may be issued. But then it says, upon the same conditions governing permanent permits.
And it does
So yes,
not,
they may be issued.
but it doesn't meet the distance requirement.
But you gotta meet the same requirements as a permanent permit. That's the way we interpret it. If legal interprets it differently, I submit.
So Catherine, do you interpret it differently?
No.
I'm just asking.
I'm just pointing out a different interpretation. I'm not saying that is the official way the legal department interprets it.
You gotta stand on business.
We're lost.
Well, let me,
You gotta stand on business.
so we know, let me sum this up just a little bit. So we know where we stand. There's a question as to, now, this board has the authority to approve or disapprove anything it wants to. It might not be legal,
Exactly.
but we can do it. But then, and it's not necessarily a precedent that we would set. It might be that a mistake that we made, but it would not be a precedent. Am I totally?
You're not totally off base there.
Okay.
And this could be another issue that, the board may want to bring to council and say, hey, there's another issue with the code.
Yes.
Where we would not have this issue if M1 was in the list of approved zones. Is that correct, Zach?
That is correct.
Okay.
Because then at that point, they'd be 39 feet to the plus.
Right. Okay. So, is there a motion? I'm the chairman, so I can't make a motion, so,
So before you guys make a motion, I just want to highlight to you that per 545,
and this is a one-time event in this place.
so per 543, no, where's the 6 months? I've lost it. Stand by, please. Okay. Per 545B1, it states, after it states about the parks, it says further that this distance proximity prohibition shall not apply to any location that has heretofore, and I'll let legal interpret that, been issued a valid permit to sell, store, or manufacture beer or other beverages of like alcoholic content under previous distance proximity restrictions. So,
We
then it goes on to say, but if any such permittee shall cease or discontinue the sale of beer for 6 months, then the distance proximity prohibition contained in this section shall thereafter apply to such locations. So just because someone's issued a permit doesn't mean they can be issued another permit again. What this says is it would have to be under different distance prohibitions. So I'll just leave that out there for you guys, and you can interpret it however you wish.
And so we know that during the period of OpenGov record keeping, there's been no application, but not pre-OpenGov. Well, the building's brand new.
Brand new.
Right, okay.
We've had OpenGov for at least 6 months.
Yeah.
So,
But I mean,
at least 6 months. So.
But
if-
yeah, so no one's this is the first applicant for this address.
Right.
Well, it's still pulled old records in because there's a business license from 2021 that attaches to this address. So it does go back.
Yeah.
Okay.
But there has been no permit for this location in the past.
Correct, not for 2035, which is this location.
Right.
Correct.
Veronica wants to say something.
Veronica? Yes,
So
ma'am.
so if another applicant comes 2 months from now with the same thing, we have to go through the same hurdle?
Yep.
Because they're not, it's obvious they're out of zone.
Yep.
It's obvious, and I would deny it
Absolutely.
again if I was the one doing the review.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Unless the ordinance is changed.
Okay.
Correct.
Which is the
And that's how we've
which is
applied the
motion.
ordinance to all
Which is-
previous zoning reviews, for the record. There's no change today or on this one than there has been in the last year and a half that I've been doing the approvals. We've always done this the same way, except for the fact of the 300 feet that got changed from
Right.
500 and 250 to 300 and 200,
Right.
just for the record.
Okay.
What time does your event end?
9:30.
9:30. Are you having anything else? What else is being sold or done there?
Yeah, we'll have wine, and champagne. We'll also have food. It's being a catered event.
And I don't know if I heard this, what is a Step Ahead Foundation?
We're a local nonprofit. We've been around for 10 years. We provide access to free birth control.
Yeah, I'm familiar with it.
And how many
Attendees.
will be attending this?
125.
125?
And it's a silent disco, so it's not gonna be loud.
Need a permit for beer, for wine and chili?
If the items are donated,
Is it 130 feet?
So with the wine and the champagne, did you get a permit from TABC for that?
We got the special event license from the state. Yep.
oh, that's what I was.
And that was issued.
Okay, did everybody, members, please, did everybody hear that they did receive their special, their license from the state for the wine and champagne?
So this is like the other case, the state does
exactly.
still with the
They
local.
they have different.
They have different rules.
Rules.
The rules are different,
Does
yeah.
not apply to them.
Right.
So
Right.
they can still have the champagne and the wine.
Correct.
Just not the beer, based off of the distance requirements. So,
All right.
But we're required to follow our rules.
right.
Okay, then
Right.
can I I guess we have to deny. Make a motion to deny?
Well, it's,
Based
that's
on-
why I'm calling for a motion.
There it is. She just made one.
Oh, did you make one? I'm sorry.
I'll make a motion to deny.
Okay.
Because it's the rule.
Second.
Is there a second?
Yep, Veronica.
Veronica? All right, discussion to the motion?
Not 2 weeks out.
All right, I will call the roll.
Hello.
Betsy?
No.
Reginald?
No.
Was that a no, Reginald?
That's a no.
Okay, thank you. J.W. Cole?
No.
Ron Smith?
Yes.
Now, my no is against her motion, by the way.
Right.
Okay.
Oh, well, no, okay, I'm not against that motion, I'm sorry. Yeah, let's start all over. No, I'm denying it.
Okay, all right, so,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
all right, let's start again. Let me restate the motion. Let me restate the motion.
Thank you for the clarity.
That my no was, I'm not in favor of that motion.
Yeah,
Okay, my bad.
all right, no, let me restate the motion. All right,
Sorry, I hate that.
the motion is to deny the application.
Yes, okay, good.
All right, so there was a motion to deny the application and a second to that motion. So now you're voting, if you vote yes, you vote to deny the application. If you vote no, you're voting not to deny the application.
You just confused me.
Right.
Yes means deny,
Yes means
Okay,
deny.
Okay.
no means not deny.
No means not. Thank you. No means not to deny. All right, so let me call the roll again. Betsy?
No.
All right. Reginald?
Yes.
J.W. Cole?
Yes to deny.
Thank you. Ron Smith? Okay. Veronica,
Yes.
Brooke,
Yes.
and Christie.
No.
And the chair votes yes. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 5 votes to, or 6 votes, excuse me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 votes to approve the motion, so the motion is denied. The application is denied, excuse me. Okay. That being said, all right, well, we'll talk about this in discussion. Okay. It's, where is it here? Where is that? Amanda?
Yes.
What I would encourage you to do is whoever owns this event hall needs to wake up and
Yes.
figure out what's going on, because
Yes, sir.
right now, they're.
I will be sharing the decision with the venue.
Okay, please, I was gonna say, please
Who is on
do.
this venue?
Who owns the venue? It's PKS Properties.
What?
PKS Properties is the name of their business.
Yeah, so we need to zero this in. Amanda, thank you very much.
Thank
I'm
you.
sorry.
I appreciate it.
Okay, well, I'm sorry. But, okay, all right. Wow, that was exciting. Okay, beer violations, none, thank goodness. That's a good thing when we don't have violations. All right, now we're into the discussion part of the agenda. So let's discuss what we would like for our legal counsel to bring up to the city council for review.
Okay.
So would you mind kind of restating that for me? I'm so wound up in the other one, I can't.
So you, would like to make recommendations to city council about certain clarifications in, 5-45. I think on both
both of
counts.
them, correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
The section is
That is correct.
5-45.
That is correct.
Because in one isn't included, and the DUI,
Right.
and do you want, to recommend that DUI is included as a prohibitor or not?
Yeah. Yes, for me, yes.
You do want to recommend it be?
No, it should not be included. I don't think a DUI should prohibit somebody from working.
Well, you got to be careful what you say,
Yeah.
because
You
there's
have
some
one beer
DUIs
over-
out there
is
that
that
are
what you have to
very
say?
serious.
Well,
And
and maybe there needs to be a stipulation that says first offense.
One at a time, please, go ahead.
I was gonna say, maybe there should be a stipulation on how many offenses. First offense?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I agree. I mean, but we've seen some pretty ugly DUIs in here, okay? And, you wouldn't want them really
Right.
on establishments. But this case, he's different. He was, but,
Maybe change the time, clarification on
Yeah,
DUI,
timing.
not 10 years.
Yeah.
Because if it's your first offense, but you were triple of the limit, that's different than having a beer over.
yeah.
Well, I will say that the 10-year limitation, it tracks statutory language, and there's a reason for that. In trial evidence of a felony 10 years or less is admissible. So that kind of tracks that language. I don't know if you want to suggest that maybe DUIs will be considered on a case-by-case basis. And that way, if it's something that happened last year versus 7 years ago, you can take that into account.
Wording of that is better.
That's better. That's a good
And I
one.
like that, but I think on this case, their husband and wife, there is no reason, according to the law, that they need to change their percentages. Because again, talk radio, I'm thinking for the sake of the board.
Right.
And the community, we just approved a DUI on this case, and anybody now could come on, we can't change it. You can't have, well, that was different If Ray Ray come in here next week, or our next meeting, we gotta approve Ray Ray. And not to mention that they do watch.
Well, I think we're looking at the verbiage that was stated in the code. In the code, it did not say, drinking or while under the influence. It said transporting, and he wasn't transporting, he had it in the system. That's why he was pulled over. So we're looking at the code.
We
and the
need
verbiage.
clarification. What the board needs is clarification of what the definition of
Moral
transporting is.
I think that part's pretty clear. It's the last part that says, moral whatever it said, perpetuity, that's what needs.
Right.
I mean, bootlegging, that's pretty clear, but.
So moral turpitude, there is some case law on that.
Yes.
And I have done the research, and what that basically means is a crime involving dishonesty of some sort, like forgery, robbery, thievery.
Right.
You know,
If he had not disclosed the DUI on his application.
that
Found it, yes.
That might have been.
So then he's in the
That have
clear. The
been-
other part,
Yeah.
selling, distributing, or transporting, well, that's,
Well,
I don't think that's fuzzy.
I guess the issue is since it's come out 3 times in one meeting, what do y'all want to do about DUIs? Like, do you want to include it? Do you want to make it like, we'll take it on a case-by-case basis?
I think
And
case
then-
by
Case basis.
It's probably smartest, yeah.
I like the idea of case by case, just to give us the opportunity as a board to make a decision based on, well, he volunteered and gave us his whole story of what happened and what he's done since then and things like that. And
He wanted a beer license too.
well, I know that. That's what I mean. No, you're right, JT. I'm just getting ready to say that.
And I know we're saying case by case, but everybody's gonna come here and state their narrative to get approved.
Right.
I mean, so.
Yeah.
I think it needs to be in writing, like we just did with this one. It was not, defeat.
Right.
It's clear. And we gotta keep it moving. So I'm looking for just put it in black and white, we read it, we interpret what they're saying, and keep it moving. That's what I'm thinking. Because you do case by case, there's gonna be some bias.
And also,
Yes.
you can also judge the time as well. I think that also had something to do with it too. Because what if it happened this year versus 8 years ago? And that's something that is found in the background check. So. I'm not taking a side one way or the
No, I
other.
understand.
I'm just
Well, maybe
offering some clarification.
Maybe then, Catherine, what we might, as a board, how about discussing this with inside the department, your legal department?
Okay.
And tell them, say, all of a sudden, this has come up 3 times. And tell them, and I would say, tell them we're needing some clarification. We have varying opinions on the board of what should be done. And ask them for any suggestions. And then that might give us at least a starting point for discussion of, they might suggest, well, maybe you put it at a 5-year time limit or whatever. But I understand exactly what you're saying.
Yep.
Because once you open the door, the door's open.
Right. It is.
And we try to be, it's our job to be unbiased and do what we think is best for the citizens of Chattanooga.
Correct.
The board also need to be cognizant of uniformity.
Right.
When it comes to granting or denying permits
Exactly.
as well.
So
I don't know if there needs to be, a certain matrix, like if you have within this many years or this many in total, or however you want to do it. That's another factor that the board needs to consider, because you don't want to seem like you're favoring one group over the other.
No, we don't.
Well, you have to remember that we all be gone here in a few years, and that discretion goes on to the next group, and their discretion may be completely different.
Different, yeah.
Bertha, when they get the background check, does that come back to you? I'm not asking for facts, but I'm just asking for your general observation. How many of them have DUIs on? Is this the first? This is the first time I can remember this coming up before the board.
Yes, and I I didn't process those applications, but Catherine pointed it out that they had DUIs.
Right. Okay. This is a new thing. This is a new thing for the board.
Well, we've had DUIs before, but.
But that was, because they were over serving and it wasn't the applicant, it was the customers.
Now, we did have one that had a felon
Yes.
within the past 10 years, and they waited till after the 10-year period, and then they came back.
Right. They waited. Is DUI considered a felony?
It was only like 2 more years.
Catherine, is DUI considered a felony?
I think it depends on the.
I think it's something, we had that about kids or something in the car, or someone was killed, or I don't know.
Yeah, all right.
I do remember that.
Okay, all right.
All right.
Well, Catherine, does that give you a little guidance as to what we can, you just,
A little bit, and then I guess the next time we can, we can put this on the agenda.
Yeah, let's do that.
Action item.
yep, let's do that. Yep. Is that okay with the board? Yeah. We can kind of be thinking about this because, again, it cuts both ways. Once we open the door, and I understand, but I also understand people make mistakes.
And did we ever hear from her? She never said anything, did she? The wife?
No, she didn't, and I didn't think that was the wife, I'm just looking at the names there. I thought they were just partners.
Just the attorney and him kept talking?
Yes.
So do we really know, again, I'm just saying, do we really know the true story?
Well, do we,
Stated under oath. He stated under
They
oath.
stated, I know.
A big enough deal to borrow the
But
state.
she never had she never stated, right, she never stated anything. Or didn't have the opportunity to step
Oh, she
in.
had opportunity,
what
she
would you
just
have
didn't.
wanted to hear from her, though? What would you have wanted to hear from her?
Her heart? What did she might not wanted it.
Oh, not if they're making that much.
I mean, I'm just saying that, that's a discussion.
Considers the code.
Right,
Oh,
right,
right.
well, no, I know,
And not
right.
suggestive
I
factors
know,
like
that's,
that.
It doesn't matter
It's
what
just
he said.
conversation, yeah.
It doesn't matter what he said. I looked at it, in 7 years, it was one, yeah.
I mean, that's approved, so they're gonna sell.
All right.
There.
Okay, we
All
gotta get out
right.
of
Is
here.
there any further discussion on this? Y'all, this is what we get paid the big bucks for. Okay?
When is payday, Captain?
Yeah.
When is the check?
Is there anybody here that has any public comment? None observed. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Thank y'all very much today. I appreciate it.
Yeah.